You didn't mess up so bad that God gave up on you. Let's clear that up right now. Your failure didn't cancel your calling. Your mistake didn't delete your purpose. The enemy wants to convince you that because you failed, you're finished. But that's a lie straight from the pit. God is not intimidated by your mess. In fact, he does his best work right in the middle of it. Think about it. Peter denied Jesus 3 times and still preached the sermon that launched the church. David messed up big time, murder and adultery, and still was called a man after God's own heart. If God only used perfect people, the Bible would be a pamphlet, not a library. Your failure may have surprised you. It might have shocked the people around you, but it didn't shock God. He factored it in. That mistake you made, that thing you wish you could take back, he saw it coming and still chose you, still anointed you, still called you. God doesn't just restore what's broken, he builds with it. He doesn't throw you away when you fall. He bends down and picks you up. That's the kind of God he is. Stop letting shame be your script. Stop replaying the moment where you messed up like it's the final scene of your life. That wasn't the ending, it was a turning point, a setup for something greater. You may have failed, but you are not a failure. Failure is an event, not your identity. And here's the crazy part. God will use the very thing you thought disqualified you to show off his glory. That failure that made you feel unworthy, he'll flip it. That weakness you tried to hide, he'll work through it. That broken place you've been carrying around like a burden, he'll turn it into your testimony. If you're not dead, God's not done. So stand up, shake the dust off, lift your head. God is not finished with you. And your failure is not bigger than your Father. Failure is not final unless you give it the final word. Just because it happened doesn't mean it has to define you. The moment you failed, the moment you fell short, the moment you did the thing you swore you'd never do again, that was a moment. It was not the totality of your life. It was not your final act. It was not the closing scene. That was a comma, not a period. But here's the trap. We often let the voice of the enemy become the narrator of our story. We hand him the microphone in our minds and let him replay that failure over and over until it starts to feel like the truth, until it becomes our identity. We start saying things like, I always mess up, I'm not enough, I guess this is just who I am now. That's what happens when we give the enemy the final word. But you don't have to let him narrate your story when God is still writing it. God already wrote your next chapter. He didn't stop writing when you failed. He didn't drop the pen when you fell. He didn't throw the manuscript into the fire and walk away from the story of your life. No, he turned the page. He was ready for that chapter. He had grace waiting in the margins. He had mercy pre-written in the lines you haven't even lived yet. You might still be stuck in the scene of your failure, but God's already written the redemption. See, the enemy wants to trap you in a moment. God wants to launch you into a movement. The enemy will try to convince you that your story is over. But how can it be over when the author is eternal? How can your failure be the end when the finisher of your faith is still at work? You've got to be careful who you let hold the pen. That pain you tried to pray away, that heartbreak that shattered you, that moment you wish you could erase, God saw it. He felt it with you, and he's not ignoring it. He's investing in it because he's the kind of God who doesn't let your pain be pointless. He doesn't need to take you around the pain to bless you. He'll take you through it. You thought it disqualified you. You thought it made you weaker, less usable, too broken, too scarred. But scars don't mean you're finished. They mean you survived. Scars are proof that something tried to destroy you and failed. And God is the only one who can take what tried to break you and make it build you. Instead, what hurt you doesn't disqualify you. It can develop you. That betrayal taught you who your real source is. That loss stripped you of control and brought you to your knees, and that's where real strength begins. That failure exposed your limits, but it also revealed God's limitless grace. He didn't let it happen to destroy you. He's using it to form you. You're being forged in the fire. And I know it doesn't feel like it right now. It feels like punishment. It feels like abandonment. But God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. Every tear, every ache, every lonely night, it's working something deeper in you, a strength you didn't know you had, a faith that doesn't depend on feelings, a resilience rooted in something more solid than circumstances. The wound wasn't the end of your story. It was the place God started building a new one. You thought you were bleeding out, but God was breaking through. You might have messed up, but that's not who you are. You might have fallen short, but that fall doesn't define you. You might have made the choice, but the choice doesn't get to rename you. That thing you did, that decision you regret, that night you wish never happened, that was a moment. And moments don't get to shape your entire identity unless you give them permission. The enemy wants to take a single chapter and convince you it's the whole story. He wants to take the lowest point of your life and plant it like a flag in the ground as if that's where it all ends. But you serve a God who doesn't just redeem moments, He reverses them. You might have done what they said. You might have walked through the addiction. You might have gone back to the relationship you knew was toxic. You might have snapped or lied or spiraled again, but you are not who they say you are. You are who He says you are. Don't let their labels override His promise. They see your failure. He sees your future. They see your mistake. He sees your mission. They see someone who blew it. He sees someone He's about to bless through it. See, people will try to freeze you in your failure. They'll snapshot the moment and make it your whole identity. But God doesn't deal in snapshots. He sees the whole timeline. He sees where you're going, not just where you've been. And He's not intimidated by the detour. He knows how to reroute your life right back into purpose. You're not disqualified, you're being redefined. And the craziest part, sometimes the very place you fell is the exact place God will raise you up to speak life into someone else. Because He doesn't waste failure, He flips it. He doesn't bury you under it. He builds something greater through it. So you don't have to carry that label anymore. You're not your worst decision. You're not your lowest moment. You're not the names they called you or the shame you've been dragging around like a weight. You are not what you did. You are who God called. Not in the spotlight, not on the stage. Not after you've got it all figured out, not when you finally break the habit, not when you've prayed enough or fasted enough or been holy enough. Grace doesn't wait on perfection. Grace shows up in the middle of your mess. The dirt is where God does His best work. He's not afraid of your dirt. He's not holding His nose when He gets close to your situation. He's not saying, clean it up and then I'll consider you. No, He steps into it. He kneels down in it. When everyone else is standing at a distance judging you for where you are, God is getting His hands dirty to pull you out. You don't have to clean yourself up for God to use you. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to fix yourself before He can start. You don't have to be the Sunday version of you to be seen, known, and loved. He sees the real you, and He chooses you anyway. You think He didn't know about the dirt when He called you? You think He only wanted the version of you that worships with your hands lifted, but not the one that cried on the bathroom floor last night? He knew exactly who He was getting when He picked you. He knew about the attitude, the anxiety, the addiction, the insecurity, the stuff nobody else knows about. And He still said yes, because grace doesn't run from the dirt. It redeems it. Jesus proved that when He knelt down in the dirt with a woman caught in the act of adultery, publicly humiliated, moments away from being stoned. He didn't shame her. He didn't preach at her. He didn't ask her to get it together. He drew in the dirt. He stood with her. He defended her. He covered her before she was clean. That's the kind of grace we're talking about. Grace that says, I know where you've been and I'm still not letting go. Grace that finds you in the pit and reminds you, you're still chosen. Grace that rewrites the story right in the middle of the mess. So if you're waiting to be spotless before you step into purpose, you'll never move. But if you'll trust Him in the dirt, you'll see that the dirt isn't the disqualifier, it's the starting point. That's the voice you've been hearing, isn't it? The one that whispers, don't let them see the real you. The one that says, if they knew what you did, they'd walk away. The voice that says, you're too far gone now. Just keep it covered, keep it quiet, keep it buried. That's shame talking. Shame is a liar with a loud voice. Shame will have you dressing up wounds like they're healed, smiling on the outside while silently breaking on the inside, acting like you've moved on when deep down you're stuck in the moment that broke you, because shame's strategy is isolation. If the enemy can't destroy you, he'll try to disconnect you, make you think you're the only one, make you think healing is for everybody else. So you keep your pain private, you keep your struggle secret, and you build a prison out of silence. But while shame says hide, God says heal. God never called you to hide the broken parts of your life. He's not ashamed of your struggle. He's not surprised by your scars. He's not asking for the polished version of you. He's asking for the honest version of you, because you can't heal what you won't bring into the light. Don't bury what God wants to redeem. Some of you have been sitting on pain that's poisoning your purpose. You've locked parts of yourself in a room and thrown away the key, thinking, I'll deal with that later, or worse. That's just who I am now. But what you buried didn't die. It's just been growing in the dark. And God didn't let you survive what you went through just so you could pretend it never happened. He wants to redeem it. He wants to use it. He wants to turn that shame into a story that sets other people free. That thing you've been hiding, that could be the very testimony that heals someone else. That pain you've been ashamed of, God can pull purpose out of it. That secret you've been sitting on, bring it to Him and watch Him rewrite it. God doesn't redeem fake versions of people. He redeems the real you, and the real you isn't perfect. The real you has battle wounds. The real you has baggage, but the real you is exactly who grace is reaching for. Let's get that lie off of you right now. That thing you did, that moment you wish you could rewind, that decision that wrecked your confidence and made you question if you're even worthy of being used by God, it did not cancel your calling. You think you're the one who disqualified yourself, but you were never the one who qualified yourself in the first place. God knew who you were when He called you. He knew the flaws, the failures, the tendencies, the patterns, the whole mess of it, and He still picked you. Your mistake may have shocked you, but it didn't shake Him. Heaven didn't hit the panic button when you fell. God didn't yank the purpose off your life because you stumbled. He doesn't cancel His calling, He covers it. If He started it, He'll finish it. Your calling doesn't rest on your performance, it rests on His promise. You might have detoured, but He still knows the destination. You might feel like you've ruined it, but His grace rewrites it. You might have walked away, but He's still standing right where He said He'd be, saying, I'm not done with you yet. Failure can't override His plan. It might delay it, but it can't delete it. It might humble you, but it won't halt you, because what God starts, He completes. And He's not intimidated by your mistake. He's bigger than it. He's better than it, and He builds through it. You thought your failure took you off the path, but what if it was just part of the process? What if the mistake was never meant to cancel your calling, but deepened it? What if God is going to use what you walked through to make you stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness than you were before? You see failure, God sees formation. He's forming something in you through this. He's proving that His word is greater than your worst. He's showing that His plan doesn't crumble under pressure. It thrives under grace. So don't let shame speak louder than your calling. Don't let the mistake define the mission. God's not done with you. He started something in you, and no failure has the authority to stop what He authored. You see the cracks, He sees the foundation. You see what fell apart, He sees what He's about to put together in a way you never imagined. You look at your life and think, how could God possibly use this? But God looks at your life and says, watch what I can build with it. That's why He doesn't toss aside what's broken. He builds with it. We throw things away when they're damaged. God leans in. We disqualify people when they mess up. God draws closer. We hide our brokenness and shame, but God looks at it and says, that's exactly where I want to begin. He is the kind of God who specializes in rebuilding from rubble. He took Joseph from a pit and built a nation-saving plan. He took Moses, a fugitive with a speech problem, and used him to lead millions. He took Rahab, a woman with a past, and wrote her into the bloodline of the Messiah. Because what people call damaged, God calls destined. What people try to throw away, God says, no, I still see purpose in that. Your weakness is not an obstacle to God, it's an invitation. He's not looking for your strength. He already has all the strength in the universe. What he wants is your surrender. The place where you feel most inadequate is often the place he wants to release his greatest power. You've been praying for God to take the weakness away, but what if he wants to show himself strong through it? Paul said, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses so that Christ's power may rest on me. That means your weakness isn't your liability, it's your leverage. That's the place where heaven leans in. That's the place where miracles break through. That's the place where you stop striving and start trusting. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be available. You don't need to hide what's broken. You need to bring it to the one who knows how to build with it. So the very thing you thought disqualified you, that might be the platform God uses to bless someone else. The very place you feel weakest, that might be the exact spot where God is about to flex his strength. Because your broken doesn't scare him, it attracts him. So don't count yourself out when God already called you in. Don't let failure silence your faith. Don't let shame steal your story. Don't let the dirt, the wounds, the weakness, or the brokenness convince you that God is done, because he's just getting started. He's the God who builds from the bottom up, who writes purpose into pain, who meets you in the dirt, heals you in the dark, and calls you forward even when you feel like going back. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are still chosen. You are still anointed. You are still called. So lift your head, take the weight off your shoulders, and remember, God is bigger than your failure, and his grace is not done with you yet.